Hello, Dr. Ko here. Happy to see you. I am the Chief Medical Officer of American Endovascular Amputation Prevention, also the founder and CEO of Lead Physician Online Leadership Program. Today, I have Dr. Pam Ludmer with me today. Hi, Pam.
Hi, how are you? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. We have a very interesting topic. She is an expert in communication. She's an executive leadership coach as well as a divorce coach and on faculty at Lead Physician. And we're talking about nonviolent communication. Define that for us first, and let's talk about how to communicate in this way.
Yeah, so nonviolent communication is something that was started by a psychologist. His name is Marshall Rosenberg a long time ago. And it's really a way of communicating that is designed to allow for open, honest communication in a way that makes both people feel safe and feel heard. So, in this day and age, we're just so used to just responding and reacting very quickly, boom, 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 with anything. And this is sort of a way to wait, slow down, really think about what's important, what it is that you want, and how can you express yourself in a way that allows for that two-way dialogue.
Right. And what usually gets in the way? The emotions?
Yeah, the emotions, right? Right away. And we don't even think about them. It's just right away. You get mad, you get angry, you feel threatened, you get upset, whatever it is. These automatic processes just hijack us very
Okay.
fast. So that's what often causes a lot of.
Okay. So take us through those steps and tell us how to remove the emotions in the moment because
Yeah.
I always work at that.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things I think for people to do because we're just so used to, we have to say what we want to say and just get it out.
Right.
But this actually sort of asks you to kind of take a pause. And it's a 4-step process. And that's one of the things I really like about it. People talk a lot about crucial conversations, which is great, but it's a lot of steps and there's a lot to do. And this is just 4 easy little steps to sort of get this done. And it really helps you kind of take a pause and have a little bit of awareness about what's going on instead of just being, quick and, sending out that lasso against somebody. So the first step is the observation stage. And that's where, somebody has done something or somebody has said something and you just kind of notice and say, okay, when I heard you say, when I saw you do, when I noticed something. And the really important part with this is that you're just observing it without judgment. This is one of the hardest things to do.
Mhm,
People
mhm.
want to say, you're late. This is a big mess. Everything is a disaster. This was due yesterday. And they feel like observation,
It
but
sounds like
there's judgment,
observation.
right? They seem like it, but there's judgment in there, right? So anything like this is actually one of the hardest things. The whole one is the hardest one is how do you say it in a way that sticks with people?
It's choosing your words. It's being impeccable with your word. And I work at this, and I think we can all be better at this. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think exactly. You really have to choose your words and think of the fact, right? As soon as you
Mhm.
say late, you're blaming somebody for something
Mm.
right away. Like
But isn't late still just a fact? You came in late.
it sounds like a fact, but the real fact is you came in at 9:15 instead of 9.
Mhm,
That's the fact. The fact
mhm.
is you
But
came.
if you start at 8 all the time, isn't 9 o'clock late? That's still a
Yes,
judgment. Okay.
yes, but as soon as you say that word, right, there's
Mhm.
already a judgment that's been attached
Okay.
to
Okay.
the actual action, the actual
Yep.
observation, which is, "Hey, it's 9:15," and the
Mhm.
person isn't
And
there
it's
yet.
also the intonation of your voice. So made it sound like it's very neutral. And
Yeah,
and the point is to allow for conversation to happen instead of derailing it such that there's no productivity from this conversation. There's no action
exactly.
plan, there's no remediation, right?
Right, right. And
Mhm.
also you're thinking that you wanna start the conversation in a way that isn't attacking the other person, right? So you're as soon as you tell somebody they're late, it's an accusation. It's
Right.
an accusation right away. "You're late."
You're late. Okay.
Right, as opposed to you came in at
That's right.
9:15. That's the fact. The fact is you
Yes.
9:15.
Okay. Great.
That's there you
Thank
can't
you.
argue that. You can't
You
argue that
can't argue that. Yep.
fact. Right. So that's the thing. And even at home, it's the same thing. Somebody might come in and say, "The kitchen is a mess." That's a judgment. The fact is
Mm.
there's dishes on the counter. That's the fact. There's dishes
See?
on the sink.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So that
So
but the hardest
how do we start getting better at choosing the right words if you don't even, in your mind, subconsciously, you already think that these are facts and you think these things are true and your
yeah.
perception may be totally off, but in your mind, you think it's a fact.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think one of the best ways to sort of think about this is to think that if somebody said it to you,
Right.
what would it trigger? What would you feel? If
Got it.
somebody tells you you're late, does it cause a reaction?
Yes.
If it causes a reaction, then it's not a fact,
Right.
right? Because, and if you can say, I wasn't late,
Right.
you could say that. You can't say it's not 9:15. You can't argue with that fact.
Right.
Right?
Because
A
then
mess.
it triggers all these things in me. If I'm the one who's late and there was a good reason for it, I'm thinking, you know what? She doesn't even care. She didn't even understand my story yet. She didn't even give me a chance.
Yeah, right.
Instead, you said 9:15. I'm like, yeah, 9:15 is because I had
Yeah.
to go to the doctor this morning.
Right, right, right. And it's practice and it's feedback and it's asking them,
Very good.
just like with everything.
Very good. Flip it and then think about it that way. All
Mhm.
right, what's the next one?
So the next step is really important for us when we're doing it. Sometimes I say, we use this with caution, communicating at work, depending on who the person is, but it's really important in other interpersonal relationships. But the second one is the feeling part, right? So when I saw you come at 9:15, I felt, because now you're sharing a little bit of yourself, you're becoming a little bit vulnerable, you're saying why this is important to me, right? It's sharing those feelings. I felt stressed. And then you say because, but you can imagine, why do you care that somebody's there at 9:15 and not 9 o'clock? Oh, because, when you're not here, I get nervous. The next step is because we have a lot of work to do. But you're starting to share why. It's a little bit of your why. Why are you bringing this up? Why is this an important thing for you to share? When you come home and there's a big mess, I get anxious.
Mm,
It starts to help them understand a little bit of your perspective,
got it.
right? So
Yeah.
that's why that one is really
So
important.
that's not judgment then. That's not.
No, it's really feelings. It's where you're sharing yourself, a little bit of yourself, because again, it helps them understand the impact of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not you again just yelling and they're like, why is this person so upset?
Right.
Right? They
Right.
start to have a little bit more of an understanding also then about you.
Okay.
So that's the
Okay.
second.
Excellent.
And then the third one, again, this is really important for us to help us understand ourselves. And depending on the relationship, how much you share. The third one is values or needs. It can be one or the other. But if it's, again, we get back to that, you came in at 9:15, I felt nervous because it's important to me that we start the day together with a huddle. It's important to me that everyone is here so we can be on the same page. It's important to me that we start off on the right foot, whatever it is, but you start to share a little bit about your values or your needs. I value timeliness. I value productivity. I value honesty. I value cleanliness, whatever it is. That, again, it's a little bit of sharing for the person. But even if you don't tell them, it's just such a great way to get to know, why am I being triggered by what they're doing?
Right. And maybe it's the values of the company if it's related to the organizational issue, maybe there's something going on that's really impacting the workflow and the process and the outcomes and results and the finances.
Absolutely. I think it's a fantastic point to sort of bring it back to the company mission, vision, leadership, because it also depersonalizes it a little bit and
Right.
helps the person understand, oh, this is bigger than just me and this is bigger than just her, right? There's a
Right.
bigger issue here
Right.
at stake. I think that's a great point.
Right. So one of our values is commitment, and it just says, this goes against our company values of commitment, and
Mm.
and that really concerns me. Something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Yep.
great. That's great.
Very good. Next
Yeah,
one.
and then the fourth one is also like the first one is a must-have and the fourth one is a must-have, and the seconds, are sort of, you have to use your judgment a little bit, but the fourth one is the most important one in the sense that, because it's the ask. And people are so used to just kind of venting and saying things and blaming and this and that with no sort of solution,
Hmm.
with no offer of how to do things differently. So the ask is the most important, step number 4. And the way you phrase it is also very important. So
Mm,
one way to do it is, would you be willing to? because it's
Wow.
not a demand. It's not a demand. Sometimes you have to demand, right? But
Sometimes you do.
but for the your first attempt at having a conversation with someone,
Yes.
for example, it's not something you've talked about 10 times or, already tried to remediate. But would you be willing to, and then you decide for yourself, what is the ask of what
Yep.
you would like this person to do instead? It might be, would you be willing to come in at 9 o'clock every day?
Hmm.
Would you be willing to call me if you're
Right.
not going to be here on time? If it's a timeliness thing, would you be willing to let me know if you're struggling with your work in advance
Right.
so that I'm prepared if you're not going to turn something in on time? But that ask is sort of is so important because it also shows again that dialogue, that partnership. You're not just attacking, accusing, and blaming. You're trying to work to make the situation better.
Right. That's great. It's how you're asking it. It's choosing the right words. It's not being judgmental. It's keeping the emotions out. How do
Mhm.
you even prepare yourself to keep the emotions out, Pam? How
Oh,
do
yeah.
you do it?
Yeah. Well, that's hard. I mean, I think first is the awareness. But for me, I I know when I'm starting to feel triggered. I know,
Mhm.
but we can all feel it. Like we all know. It's not a surprise to anybody. We all know what it is that's happened. And as soon as I'm starting to feel myself getting triggered, I know that's my signal that
Mhm.
I have to take a pause. That's my
Take a
signal.
pause.
Don't speak
Mhm.
yet.
Yep.
Don't speak yet. Take
Yep.
a breath. Think. Think. That's the most important thing. Don't react.
Right.
Think. Take a pause. Think. And then, okay, what did I actually observe? What do I actually
Mhm.
want to ask for instead?
Mhm.
'Cause I don't want to trigger that person. I don't want to initiate a fight. And, one of the things that we always know also with employees and at work is that it costs a lot of money to lose people. We know
Yes.
that. One of the best investments we can make is to, once we hire people, do what we can to retain them. And we have
Absolutely.
a lot that we can do as leaders to help retain people. And a lot of that is our communication, as we've talked about before.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes. We don't focus on that, but sometimes that's 80% of leadership is these people skills. Viktor Frankl is the one who said, I think that if there, we have the choice of how we respond in
Mhm,
that split second to a situation that's going on in front of us. So I
mhm,
love that, Pam.
mhm,
Can you
mhm.
give us an example? And I don't want to put you on the spot, and I tend to do that for people I'm speaking with. Can you give us an example of something that where you've had to deal with something similar in this issue, and you were able to bring it to this nonviolent communication tactic?
Yeah, yeah. So I can give you an example of something that happened some time ago where we were in a meeting and somebody they said it was a very professional thing and they told me that I was putting the cart before the horse and said it in a way in front of other people that I was like, "Oh, that was an attack."
That
It
was
was
an
it was an attack. The way that it was said, everything da 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 da. So I didn't say anything in the moment, but I thought about it. I took some time and then I called her up and, had a conversation. I just said, when you told me that I was putting the cart before the horse, and I actually said, I felt attacked because I really value collaboration and teamwork in our communications.
ah.
Would you be willing to not say that to me again? Right, so I made it really clear,
Yes, yes.
but
Mhm,
I also said, like, I had the why, and I
mhm.
didn't say, I didn't have attitude when I said it. I said, "When I heard you say it,"
You didn't say, "How dare you? What you are so rude."
right, right, and I didn't say anything about
And
the
you didn't say it the
tone.
same day, or you said it the next day, Pam?
I said it the next day because I needed to think.
Yeah.
I wanted to plan because I knew I was upset. I could feel
Yes.
it. So
Yes.
I needed to first,
It's
most
so
important
good.
thing, come from a
So
place of
good.
calm.
Yes,
And
Pam.
she took it really well, and she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." Da-da.
I'm sorry I
End of
didn't mean
story.
it. Okay.
Right.
And that was it, huh? That
And that
was
was it.
it.
And that was the end, and then we were, went on our way and were able to sort of continue working together, but I also it was important for me to talk about it, right?
Okay.
Because otherwise I would have just stewed and
Okay.
been and held on to this and had very negative feelings towards a coworker
Yes.
that you don't wanna have because even, if you hold on to that stuff, it also can negatively impact
Very, very good. Thank you so much. These are such great pearls. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Pam is on faculty at Lead Physician. If you want to join us and learn a lot more of these communication tools and tactics that can really make a difference in your organization and your business, please reach out to us. It starts on January 10 for 4 months. And she is a leadership and divorce coach. So reach out to her if you're interested in getting some help. Her website is, this is okay, Pam, I'm sharing it, is alignedcoaching.com.
Mhm.
And may I share your email address?
Sure, sure.
Okay. Her email address is pam@alignedcoaching.com. So reach out to her if you have any interest and do you have any last words of wisdom for us, Pam?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is being willing to sort of take that pause, right? Recognize when you're feeling upset and reactive. Take a pause, take a breath, and
Take a
think
breath.
about what you want to say before you say anything.
I love that. So good. We have so much to learn from you. So thank you so much
Thank
for that.
you. It was great to be here. Great to talk with you.
Yeah. Everyone have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Thanks for
everyone.
supporting us. Comment and like. Thank you.